I'm your host, Joseph Dean IV, and today it's a pleasure to have with me Reginald McCants. Welcome, Reggie.
Thank you, sir.
Let's have a chat this morning. You know me, you chat quite often throughout the day, many times throughout the day, so chatting for us is somewhat easy. So let's just talk about Reggie McCants. I've seen Reggie go through, when I say go through, process through different situations, and kind of, I've seen you as Reggie the pastor, Reggie the musician, Reggie the deacon. I think you ever been to Ursh?
I've been to Ursh.
Oh Lord, so Reggie the Ursh. I don't know Reggie the Ursh, I just know the deacon and the pastor, the musician. So let's just kind of talk about what God is doing in your life and how you got to this place in your life.
Well, starting off from a transition, I actually grew up in Mobile. Actually was born in a little town called Atmore, Alabama. Which, you know, you're familiar with that, which
I'm familiar with Atmore.
Just a few miles up is Uriah.
That's right.
So just a little town where everybody knows everybody. So around about the age of 5 years old, I moved to big city of Mobile, Alabama, where I began to grow up, go to school there. Graduated from John L. Ford High School in 93. Raps, go Raps. From there, grew up in a town, in a little town there in Mobile called the Crichton Community, where I grew up in at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Dr. W.E. Jones. There, where I was a member of a choir called the Singing Angels, there for some years, and then moved on up. Also, as you stated, I was part of the Junior Usher Board, where, you know, you had to take collection and wear your white gloves on certain occasions. But to go on, just to travel along with the history, throughout my lifetime, began to have kids at an early age. That was a great blessing. From there, got married, had some different transitions there, or what have you. But in the midst of, God still kept me. So, you know, we go through different things in life, you know, to bring us up to date of where we are. But at an early age, I understood that was a calling on my life. That calling was to preach the word. And it was prophesied for years and years and years. But to go back of being a musician, there, when I got married for the second time to my wife, who I'm married to now, we've been together for years. Going on about 25 years now. So her dad is the assistant pastor of the Jones Street True Pentecostal Holiness Church there in Atmore, Alabama, under the leadership of Overseer Bishop Willie Williams. There, Bishop Williams began to say, "You can play the piano." And he started encouraging me. I only had one song that I could play. They would ask me to play, and I was like, it was the same tune to every song. So he said, "You can do it." So it started out on a happy birthday. And so it started out that way, just playing that song again. One night, a young lady came there for a revival by the name of Pastor Linda Brown, which is located here in Montgomery, Alabama now, which is Apostle Linda Brown. She called me out that night in revival one night and said that I would no longer be scared to play. And after that night, she said that she was going to anoint my hands and that God would do what he needs to do for me to play. From then on, it's when God began to give me the gift of being a musician. And so, you know, I just thank God, not a whole lot of history, I'm not a big talker or what have you, but just a little something just to give you of who I am.
I got you. So, Reg is also our chief adjutant for our fellowship and for our church. And with that chief adjutant, I tell him, I said, you got more members than I have. He has about how many adjutants do you oversee?
I would say it was somewhere between 60 to 80.
About 60 to 80 adjutants. So he has a lot of folks that listen to his voice to help with our adjutant course. So that's been interesting. That's been an interesting ride for us to see that develop from just a thought.
Correct.
Like I said earlier, with one of the sessions with Pastor Cannon, there's a lot of things we just thought about, or God gave us a thought, because we didn't have enough sense to think about these things, you know that, and we've seen God put those things to pass. We've seen those things grow and develop. So I want to talk about just you in your walk with God and how God shifted you to this place and to this city, because I think there may be someone watching who may feel like, hey, because for many folks, they see their job as their source. And we don't understand that it's just a resource, and God plants us and put us in places that he want to put us in. Because I've seen you get a word and your whole life just shifted. So you want to talk about that for a moment? Because I think you can help someone that's watching.
It's kind of funny that you asked that question, Apostle. Actually, my wife and I just talked about this morning. I was just saying that back in 2018 should have been a moment to where I basically should have lost my mind, because there's so much went on in 2018. Not saying that it was bad, but there was some good as well. Round about the month of, starting about the month of May, right around before Pentecost was coming up. My wife graduated, received her master's degree. She had on an airplane for the first time, scared out on with it. So we did that and came back. After that, my father took sick. He took sick, and then everything started developing, started looking good. And then all of a sudden we get that phone call that it was at the hospital where we lost him. So in that transition from my wife graduating to the loss of my father, coming up around the month of June, actually the month of June the 8th, I go to work at a company called Madison Carpet.
What would you say? Tell them what you say. I'm getting ready.
I'm getting ready to see that something good is about to happen. God had something greater for me that was going on, and I went in on the job that day, and that song from Tasha Cobb, I'm getting ready to see what was going on, and I just kept walking the floor like I always do, just paying attention to my employees that I supervise, and not understanding. And understand is that this was a day that I wasn't scheduled to work. So I was filling in for another supervisor. So around 9 o'clock that morning, I go back, sit in my office, do my paperwork. My supervisor comes and taps me on the shoulder. Said, we need to go up front. And I was like, okay, no questions asked. Just figured we had a normal meeting that we had to go to. So in doing so, by the time we got to human resources, we walk in, there's a human resource leader, plant manager, and my supervisor. Everybody's looking all distraught, what's going on, so I'm wondering what's happening. The first thing they say, well, we decided that you've been chosen, we no longer need you. As of today, you have no job. So at that moment, going through my mind, I was like, okay, good. God, you've taken care of me this far. I know that there's something great for you. So I didn't have no words. I said, okay, thank you. My biggest fear was, how do I go home and tell my wife that I had no job? But they sent me out 6 months severance pay, what have you, to do good, and to go on and to make things a little quicker. In doing so, in losing my job, my wife was already saying, we was talking about moving to this area, because we was commuting back every Sunday Bible study from Atwater to Montgomery. Every other Sunday. Some weekends we would stay here for hotel calls. Yep. for the entire weekend. There's a revival, whatever we made way, we made provisions, and God made a way. But I always stood on, and my wife and I, we stood on that. If you take care of God's business, He'll take care of your business. And that's what we always have stood on. That's that foundation. So in going on after losing my job on the 8th of June 2018, August the 8th of 2018, we were signing a deal on a house here in Millbrook, Alabama. And so that's just let you know that if you take care of God's business, He'll take care of yours. And that's the foundation that we stand on to where I am here today.
So if you take care of God's business, the man has already told you He'll take care of you. We're going to wrap this up because we want to hear you preach or drop a word off for us. But I want to ask you a question. So you're the last one for this segment this month. So we've been doing the Sons and Daughters of LHM. It's been a blessing to see how God brought us all together and had us and put us in relationship. And you guys have been a blessing to me. What does our covenant relationship look like and mean to you?
What does our covenant relationship look like? Sum it up with one word. That would be love. Because love covers a multitude of everything.
You and Pastor Hannah right there, we get the same question. She used that same scripture, so.
Yeah. So that's the only way, the best way that I can describe it is love. But as far as our relationship goes a little further because we've been friends for so many years. I mean, this is a friendship of 20 years plus. So, that means something, that says something. To know, to understand, to shift one voice to another.
And to be honest, that was hard for me when you said the Lord sent you to me, the pastor. I said, how do you pastor your friend of such long terms? I mean, it was just different. I remember I told you, I said, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it's going to be cool. I don't know if you're going to like me. I don't know if I'm going to like you in this arena. But, to be honest, God has graced us through that.
Correct.
He has really graced us through that. It was different. Out of all the people I pastored, and I pastored my family in some arenas, just pastoring your friend was so different. But, I think even in that, we know our place. We know when to joke. You'll call me and tell me I need to talk to my friend, not to my pastor. Exactly. Or I'll call you and say I need to talk to Pastor McCann. I need to talk to my friends. I need to talk. We know where those roles shift. And I thank God for just that in itself. And just thank you guys for being a blessing to me. I mean, these segments we're wrapping up, I've had the whole staff here this month. And it's been a blessing to hear the stories and how you guys have blessed me to walk it out. I know I'm not always easy to work with, but we see it and we get it done. So, man, not just you. I think Pastor Postel, I think Pastor Cannon, I think Evangelist George, I think Evangelist Cooper, because you guys are part of the real dream team. And without me, I can do the things that I do. So we're going to pause for a moment, get prepared and get set up for Pastor McCann to come back. He's real, and we missed that. He's very prophetic, so you may get a prophetic word. We don't know we're going to get. Just come on, don't go, stay there, and let's watch what God has for him.
Right, we say greetings to each and every one. We thank you for this moment. We thank Apostle Dean for this moment just to share a word with you out there in TV land on today. So real briefly, I just want to talk to you about the cost of commitment. And we say that commitment comes from your heart. And that will be coming from Scripture, Matthew 6:21 says, "For where your treasures is, there will your heart be also." God doesn't need a large number to do what needs to be done. He only needs a few of committed folks. Understand today that even in this moment, in this arena of where we are today, of knowing about the pandemic that we're going through, we understand that we do need some committed people to still walk out what God has in store for us and God has the plan for us. And we know we always identify every individual as an essential worker. So we want to let you know that God's people are essential workers. And as we continue to speak, God is not your backup plan. God is your plan. Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Words associated with commitment. First, we'll speak about consecration, making the choice to set myself apart for full fulfillment of divine purpose. Investment, the time you're putting in doing a kingdom assignment, doing it as unto the Lord. Sacrifice, the extra effort put forth that is required to achieve a divine mandate. Sacrifice, let's stay right there for a moment on sacrifice. That's a big word because we understand that everything that we do and should do should be a sacrifice. Even in ministry of being married, that is a sacrifice to where you have to leave your wife at home sometimes, you have to leave your kids. That's a big job. That's a sacrifice. So understand that things that you do, that there's a sacrifice. Just even going to your jobs on day-to-day basis, that's a sacrifice. But you sacrifice and understand to get up to go to the 9 to 5, that there is a reward afterwards. So you're looking for that paycheck every Friday or every other Friday or once a month. That's a sacrifice, but it's a costing in the sacrifice. So we go on with words associated with commitment. Dedication, which simply means my willful acceptance of what it would take on a moment by moment basis to please God. Also excellence, which is simply paying attention to detail. Commitment is essential for change. Why? It exposes your character. It helps and establishes you to a course of action that pleases God. Types of commitment. There are two types of commitments here that we're going to speak about. The first one is a commercial commitment. When you do for the kingdom for personal gain. Cause commitment, I do what I do because I'm called to do it. Your call should align with the vision of the ministry. Understand this, that Satan's greatest weapon in the church today is getting you to forget your cause. In other words, you become complacent and you begin to forget about kingdom work. In Romans 8:35 through 39, it simply says, commitment is not something that you have to feel. It's something that you just do. The more you do it, the more you feel it. The less you do it, the less you feel. Then you want to give up on everything. We take that commitment as similar to a jump start to a battery. We have to be jump start to pray, to sing, to give God the praise, etc. You should be motivated to do this because you know what he has done, is doing, and will do. The problem is we have been conditioned to feeling. Your feelings should be a byproduct of your faith. For we walk by faith and not by sight. How many times you felt like not coming to church? How many of you was glad you came once you got there? But let's take a moment and pause and speak about the church. Because in the pandemic of what we're going through now, we know that everybody can't meet up at the church building. Now it's time to see how many kingdom workers are really committed to the cause. So we go on and says, what happened was you didn't allow your emotions to govern what you do. My emotions should follow what I will to do. They do not run the show. The Spirit of God in me working through me is who runs the show. Luke 14:28 and 35. Jesus was telling the disciples that the effectiveness of his ministry was dependent upon their level of commitment. In other words, the effectiveness of your ministry is based upon the level of your commitment. We're saying, just as Jesus was saying, that if you're not going to be committed, then I need to raise up someone who will. Commitment is saying simply that there's a race that has to be run, people. So run the race. Don't grow weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. The race that you're running is not a sprint. It's not cross country. It's a marathon. You just got to keep going and keep your eyes on the prize. Because the only thing that you have to keep in of knowing that when you're running the marathon is getting to the finishing line. That's why Paul said that I've fought a good fight. I've kept the faith. And I've ran the race. So continue to do what you're doing out there in the TV land today. Continue to run the race. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you run. The thing is that you're running and you don't quit. Know this, that the only way that you lose is that you quit. You may get tired. You may get leg cramps. You may get dehydrated. But in the commitment phase of the running, do you have the tools that you need to get to the finishing line? So I say to you today that there is a cost of commitment. Stay committed. Stay focused. Keep the faith. Run the race. The way you run the race is because I understand that I am because he is. I'm victorious because he is. Understand that, isn't it strange that it's obvious that God gave his only begotten son for us to have the right to tree of life. God was committed to that. Then when he gave his only begotten son, Jesus had to go through some things. He had to suffer through some things. He was committed to the call, but he had enough power to bring his own self down from the cross, but he didn't. He stayed there. Why? Because he was committed to the cause. So I say to you today, stay committed to the cause, because at the finishing line, we'll see his face. May God bless you. May God keep you, is our prayers.
Hi, my name is Joseph Dean IV, and I'm excited to announce the launching of my new TV show, A Chat with JDIV. Every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. You don't want to miss it. For TV distribution, visit www.ptwwntv.com.
Yeah.